Boy, you had me from the start. Boy, you had me from the start. By the way you stare, the way you wrote up on me, yeah. Man, I felt your energy. Wasn't used to being loved and treated differently, yeah. But something went wrong, the signals got crossed, and now we're on completely different pages. Let's go where we were, where no one gets hurt. Baby, keep it right there, don't you stress the flow. You're trying to pick the pace up, we should take it slow. Baby, keep your focus, don't you make me change my mind. If you love me, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Big L, and we doing a special episode of We Said What We Said. I'm going to bring my guest in right now. All right, first I'm bringing in Mr. David Lawson. What's going on, David?
Good evening, sir. Glad to be here.
All right, and I'm also bringing in Mr. Antonio Stevenson. What's going on, my man?
Greetings. Glad to be here.
All right, man. Hopefully the other fellas will join me later. I think Timmy's out of town and Demetrius is out shopping, so maybe they'll get a chance to join me. But until then, we're going to get into this discussion, man, that all three of us are supporters of HBCUs. And big question is, man, I know we see a lot of things. I know we see what D-1's been able to do with Jackson State, bring a little notoriety to them, put them in the news a little bit. But how can we get that, for all HBCUs, man? How can we get them D1 recruits to seriously consider going to a HBCU? Tiny, you want to step in first?
I can. I think it's going to start with, it's already started. It started with Dion, but myself, I transferred from Wake Forest to 17 State. I think if we go ahead and educate our young men on the prize, and the prize for me was graduation, and I still had a great opportunity to play on the next level. I think we just got to coach them up. It had to start at home. Someone had to tell them if they go to college for the right reason, they can't make the wrong choice. A lot of our kids, especially in Winston-Salem, have gone on to Division I schools and barely touched the field. And I'm proud of them for graduating, but I felt like they could have done a better job at an HBCU and still have graduated. But that's just my opinion. Hope I answered the question.
Well, I'm just going to piggyback what he said, man, because as a first generation college student, nobody else in my family had ever went. So when you get these opportunities to play D1 ball, and of course I played at Appalachian State, and you had other offers, and some of the offers were at HBCUs, but not knowing anything about college and not having anybody to tell you anything about it because nobody else had been, you find pressure. I know this was back in the 80s, which was a long time ago, but maybe you should go to this school. You're going to have better opportunities. You're going to get better learning. But as you there, you come to realize very quickly that it doesn't matter where you go to school at. As long as you get that sheepskin, the opportunities are going to be there. And so that's why when my son came through, it was a different story. I was able to educate him on the PWI and educate him on HBCU. My daughter had went ahead, so she was able to educate him also on HBCUs. And so in his mind, he knew he was going to HBCU, and he's having fantastic opportunities right there at Fayetteville State.
Right. Definitely love what Quad doing up there, man. He definitely representing the hometown.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that.
So, like I said, we see these D1 recruits, and obviously the big schools are going to come first. I mean, are we really? I mean, do they really consider the HBCUs? I mean, for me, when I talk about, like we talking about the early 90s, you know, it was the big name was A&T.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's because, you know, that's right down the street. But obviously you look at the, you know, the ACC schools, the letters that you get from the ACC schools and stuff like that. But it took, you know, Mr. George Macklin having a conversation with me to have me to actually consider Winston. And I went up and talked to Coach Rich for a little bit. And, you know, I really enjoyed my time at Winston. You know, my son, he went to, my oldest son rather, he went to Johnson C. Smith. So, you know, he's an HBCU alum. So I think we all know the HBCUs have a lot to offer educationally and also athletically. But but like I said, it's like we kind of get pushed to the side when it comes to some of your top level athletes. And Tiny, well, I ain't gonna keep calling you Tiny, bro. I'm calling you Antonio. I know you train a lot of guys, man. I see you working with a lot of the youth, training them, getting them, you know, working with them all through the year, not just during the season and preseason, but all during the year, man. Do we ever sit down and have that talk with those guys to, you know, not
Absolutely.
eliminate your HBCUs?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm training a young man. I've been training him for about 2 years. Made all conference as a sophomore, named JD LeGrant. Name is gonna ring some bells and some amazing hallways and rooms. And I think the kid already getting recruited by Florida State, Appalachian, ECU. And he's just a rising senior this year. He just made all conference again as a junior. D lineman, incredible kid. And I had an opportunity to have a conversation with him. And his dad, very knowledgeable. Dad played at Elon. Dad is from Winston-Salem, played at Norfolk Site. Very good guy. But I'm training him, and it's more than just the weight room. It's more than just working on your footwork. I'm working on his mental.
Right.
And he's easily gonna be one of the top kids out of our city next year, just because of his on the field prowess. But the young man has about a 3.4 GPA. Could probably some amazing parents. His mom is amazing young lady. Remember we were all in school about the same time. She was a good student. Dad was a good student athlete. The thing about it, the apple don't fall too far from the tree. And his dad had a conversation with him in front of me. And when I poked my nose into the conversation about school, and he was like, well, I figured once I made all conference, I'd be getting recruited. I said, they know who you are, man, but you're a sophomore. They're waiting on you to wait your turn. So you next up. I said, but don't look automatically at these PWIs. Look at some HBCUs and give them a serious look. I said, because I feel like my 1 year at Wake Forest, other than the friendships, I feel like it was a waste of my time. I found myself as a junior at Winston-Salem State when Coach Richardson left and went to Southern. I was like, man, I need to go ahead and try to go pro. I broke some records, probably still never touched by now. And I was just like, maybe I've done all I can do here. And my head coach is leaving. I don't know who's coming in. Are they going to speak up for me when the guys from the NFL come? But my mom said, I want you to stay. God rest her soul. She said, I want you to stay and graduate. And that's what I did. And I know when I was at Wake Forest, I would get up in the morning and go to class, and I would be lost. I'll be lost. They expect you to know where to go, what to do. I'm sure it's the same way at Chapel Hill, Duke, Clemson, but they just expect you, okay, we gave you a tour. You know where class is, go. But at Winston-Salem State, and I'm not trying to put Winston-Salem State above any other HBCU, it was like home. I would ask somebody, which way is this building? Oh man, follow me. I'm going there too. It was like family. It was never a competition. Who can make the highest grade in class? Everybody want to see everybody achieve in class and do well. And I just think you got to have those hard conversations. So every kid I train, I talk to them about Winston State, A&T, and John C. Smith, Fayetteville State, the head coach at Fayetteville State. I played high school ball with him. Toot Hayes, Richard Hayes, good guy. And I just think if you go for the right reason, you can't make the wrong choice. I was lost at Wake Forest, not because it was so hard academically, just because I hadn't ever been in a situation where I saw that many people that didn't look like me. And they weren't trying to help me. They weren't trying to help me. It was other football players trying to help me and coaches. But come on, man, I was lost. I was a freshman. I went from Carver High School to Wake Forest. It was almost like the Twilight Zone. And, if you don't interview one of those guys at Chapel Hill to tell you how many brothers they bring in every year and how many make it just 1 year and get out of there, you're never going to know. So why waste that year? Go somewhere where you welcome open arms and do well for yourself.
And see, Big L, that's some of the things that most people don't talk about when you go to one of the PWIs. You are, just like he said, you by yourself. When you get there, the only people you have that look like you is people on the team. And while we were up in those mountains back in the 80s, I mean, it was only 500 of us on the whole campus, male and female. So you within a little family by yourself. You see what I'm saying? You had to take care of each other by yourself. So you didn't get that love that, when my son comes home, talk about how things go down in Fayetteville, everybody's a big family down there. It's a whole campus. It's like 7,000 of them, but it's a family unit throughout the whole campus for the most part. You don't really get that kind of love when you at the PWI. It's just not like that.
Right. I will say myself, my time at Winston, man, it was more like a family atmosphere. Me and Tiny, I keep calling him Tiny. Me and Antonio stayed in the same dorm.
Yeah,
man. So it was my freshman year, man. He was one of the guys picking on me. Breaking me in and stuff, man. But that's just, that's that big brother thing. See how tough you are and stuff like that, man. It was all love. And man, it like I said, it was just a family atmosphere. And maybe you can say it's I'm around more people that look like me, that can relate to me or what I may be going through outside of Winston-Salem State or whatever. But it was definitely a family atmosphere, man, and I don't regret that decision of going to an HBCU. And I don't think most people that go, whether they athletes or academic reasons, I think they take a lot of pride in it. That's another thing about HBCUs. I think we take a lot more pride in our schools, and I'll be biased on that. No, I didn't graduate Winston, but I take a lot of pride in my time there. And so, I would always, tell anybody to, strongly consider those HBCUs first. Because as both of y'all said, man, you out there on the island when you go to them big schools, man, you can get lost real easy.
Mm-hmm. But getting back to recruiting, man, a lot of times with the HBCUs, when it comes to the big name recruits, we're going to say 5 stars, but even down to 3 stars, a lot of times they don't put the effort in trying to get these guys because of a fear of not being able to get them. So they don't even give it a try. They should at least show them a little love that you're interested in them. You never know. You might get some of these guys.
Right, man. And we got big Andre Gavrell, man. He's on here watching us, man. I did ask him to join, but he's a little bit under the weather. He's also a Winston-Salem State alum, and I think him and Tiny got the red jackets, don't they?
Yeah, Drake got a red jacket.
Yeah.
He was with some of my old teammates too. Big Stack Man, David Graves, all them boys got them red jackets.
Yeah, man.
Big Wheeler.
But you know, and getting to your question about your comment about recruiting, man. I think you're right. You know, they kind of overlook the top tier recruits, man. But Antonio can tell you, man. I remember, you know, when Richard Huntley came in, man, and you know that Richard did some time in the NFL. You know, after Winston, I think he redshirted his freshman year. He had a knee injury or something, and like his first carry, you know, when he came back the following season, man, he took it to the house about 60 yards. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see Rich today, he still look like he can play. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, HBCU, man, the talent is there, man, but we just, you know, I guess we get overlooked, of course. We definitely don't get the financial support. And that's another thing I want to discuss, man. How can we change that? You know, everybody ain't got a Deion Sanders to speak for them.
Mm-hmm.
So what you got to say about that, Tanya? Your feelings on that?
First of all, as far as recruiting, I think I've seen at least 3 schools in my city go to the playoffs back-to-back seasons. And I think Glenn High put about 4 kids in school. Well, excuse me, 4 kids in D-1 and another 5 kids in HBCUs with a total of 9. East Forsyth does well every year. Send a couple kids to ECU, Western Carolina. But the point I'm trying to make is when the kids don't get recruited, it's the coach's job to go a little further and put them out there. Some of these coaches, when they don't win the state, when they don't go deep into the playoffs, they go ahead and start getting ready for next
high school
season.
Coaches, right?
Yeah, the high school coaches. They start getting ready for the next season. They forget to put these seniors out there. Like I think heard one of y'all say 3-star, 4-star. I don't care how many stars. If this kid played for you for 2-3 years and now he's graduating, put him out there. Yeah. My senior year in high school, first of all, I wasn't the best athlete. I don't think I've ever been on any team when I was the best athlete. But I made sure I wasn't outworked. I trained some of those kids that aren't outworked. They will not be outworked. They may not be the best athletes. And I keep going back to this kid, J.D. LeGrant. He's a great athlete. He also busts his tail when he comes and train with me. And I've had coaches, 17 State, Fayetteville State, John C. Smith, A&T, even the East Carolina coach asked me about him, just happened to see my workouts. And he said, man, what kind of kid is he? I said, I'll tell you what, come see him. And I don't think his coach would not put him out there, but I wanted to make sure that I gave him the up and up on what kind of kid this is. He's a great kid. And I trained another kid that plays for Hamlin at Atkins. His name is Wade Light. Great kid, smart kid, offensive lineman. Shout out to Coach Hamlin. He doesn't have a lot of athletes over there, but he has a couple of kids that just work hard as they can.
Yeah.
And sometimes those coaches, they don't get the respect they deserve because they don't have the 70 or 80 kids like some schools. But I love Hamlin. He's around. I think he's doing the best he can do with what he has. But people saw what Deion Sanders did these past 2 seasons, and they say, well, what's the difference between that program 3 years ago and that program last year? The difference is they have a coach that's a Hall of Fame NFL player, and he has direct connections. When a kid doesn't get drafted, he can say, hey, this kid is as good as any kid in football.
True.
And they're going to listen to him because he's not going to be talking to director of player personnel. He's going to be talking to head coaches.
Yeah,
That's the difference. Some of these coaches, they draft guys just because they went to Alabama or just because they went to Clemson or such and such. And I think that the Yancey Thigpens and the Richard Huntleys, the Rondé Gadsons from Winston-Salem State, I think they opened some doors that have not been closed. There's some more kids. We had a D lineman from High Point that played at Winston-Salem State, played in the league 10, 11 years. Great guy. I think he opened some doors that have not been closed yet. It's just that our kids now have been distracted by the negative connotations. When COVID hit, Winston-Salem State didn't have a season. But those PWIs had a season because they made money off those games being on TV. And I think when you look at it like that, you're like, oh, man, I don't want to go to HBCU and they mess around and not have a season. And I think things are put in a way such that we are adopting the bad looks just because we're HBCU. We don't have that many games on television. We just got to do a better job of promoting our schools and giving back to our program so we can get a game on TV, so we can get a game on ESPN2 or ESPN3. We saw Terrence Graves as interim coach at Grambling do a heck of a job. And it's just my opinion. I think he's supported that program, made that program stronger, made that stingy defense one of the defenses that people talk about, but they gave that head job to an ex-NFL guy.
Yeah.
Which I don't think was fair, but that's the new trend. You hire one of these guys that has a history with the league, and if you got some guys that may have failed through the cracks, he gonna get them a shot. So what kind of chance does T. Graves stand? HBCU grad, Winston-Salem State grad, been coaching since he finished playing football, coached with Coach Rich at Southern, then he went to Grambling. He's a winner. He's the high football IQ. But now our kids who are looking forward to going to Grambling or going to Winston-Salem State, they don't know who's going to be the coach. They don't know what the situation is going to be. And I don't think it's fair that you leave some of these programs with a question mark while kids trying to figure out where to go to school.
All right. So, David, I got a question for you, man. Now, I used to watch how you and Quad would go out there and train together, and this was before he went to Fayetteville State. He's still in high school, probably in. I've been watching you and him train together since he was probably a sophomore or junior.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier, Antonio, I see you training with the kids and stuff, man. How enjoyable is that for you to be out there just working with them kids, man?
I'm just gonna tell you, man. I
definitely enjoy working with my son.
Yeah. And it's something, man, when you're out there with your own son and you're able to show him things that you know. And what happens is it ends up not only being him, because his friends will come out also. And you probably don't get to see that part. But it's not only just Quad and I. You have me, Quad. You have the Rankins. You had when Travion was having his good years. You see Travion out there. There'd be several of us out there getting it in, man. It's very enjoyable because not only is it working for him, but it's working for me too. It's keeping me in some type of shape to be out there with him because I'm having to show him these things. So when you do it with your son, man, there's nothing more enjoyable than that, man. And then when you see him progressing, you watch him from a little kid as he develops, and he's not just developing as a football player, he's developing as a man because see, while you out there, it's you and the man, and you can talk to him as a man. You can talk to those boys as a man. You can tell them about other things in life more so than just football. You see what I'm saying? You can talk to him about the grades. When Quad left high school, he left with a 4.0. He's at Fayetteville State now with a 3.9. You see what I'm saying? So all that stuff was instilled in him as a little kid, that it takes more, because football, just like that, it can be over with. You're going to have something else to fall back on, and that's going to be your mind. You got to have that to fall back on. So it's very enjoyable to be out there with him, but more so, it's very enjoyable just to be out there with all of them and watch him develop into strong black men.
I want to salute you, brother. That's some great parenting, and whoever's listening can adopt that ideology and take it a step further, because I don't have any sons. I'm a girl dad. I have all daughters, but I train a bunch of kids, and some of the young brothers I train them just so they don't go home and get involved in the gangs. And and they'll come work out with me, and they'll start seeing their body change. And when that light bulb goes off, man, I can't wait for them to leave so I can cry a little bit. I know for me, I wanted to be like my big brother. I wanted to be like Chris Turner. I wanted to be fast and strong. And it was amazing, man, because I didn't start lifting weights until I was like a junior in high school. And I think every young man needs a dad like you.
Appreciate
that looks forward to taking them out there, or even a father figure that looks forward to having those man conversations and telling them, like I have those conversations with my kids. It's just different because they're not my sons. Yeah, they're not my son. You can say certain things, and certain things you can't say to him because he's not your son. But I do have those real hard conversations with these kids, and I tell them, man, I say, if you're gonna be an athlete, you can't play with that marijuana. The two don't go together. You got to pick and choose. And if that's your course of drugs, that's what you want to do, I'm fine. You can't work out with me. And some of those kids are still great athletes. I just don't want anyone putting that on me. Oh, you co-sign that? No, I think if you're gonna be the best you can be, and you're going to be the best student athlete you can be, I think it's mandatory to have a clean body. And man, I had these conversations with these kids, and some of them say, "So, Mr. Stevenson, you gonna try to tell me you ain't smoked no weed in high school or college?" And I tell them, absolutely not, man. I ain't touching. I didn't touch it. I was afraid. I was in school with guys like Ronnie Beverly and Willie Latta, who, if they could get an edge on you, they would embarrass you, man, in practice, in the hallway, whatever. So I made it a point to stay on point. And if you're gonna work out and lift weights and take care of your body, I mean, I was in school with Lamont, man. I'm telling you, we walked around campus with bodies like Greek gods. You know, and we took pride in it, man. You know, we had a guy on our team named Eric Williams, man. I don't think he owned a t-shirt. and everybody wanted to look like him, you know. Reggie Richardson, these guys went to 17 State 4 years, graduated, went into law enforcement, man. I was looking around one day and I was like, yo, man, these dudes look like they in prison. You know,
Big Reg did look like he was on full force, didn't he?
But you know, it was the same way. Like everybody wanted to look like him, man. And that's what HBCU meant to me, man. When Fayetteville State and Johnson C. Smith and Central, these guys would come up at our school. We would walk around and try to intimidate them, man. We know y'all weight room don't look like our weight room. We work out in the dungeon. And those are the things. That's one of the things I applaud Winston-Salem State on. They have a wide variety of weight rooms for the kids to work out in there. The football program got their own weight room. It's one on campus. I mean, we didn't have any of that, man. And you know, we can't compete with Wake Forest. Wake Forest has a $1.2 billion weight room. They're second to only Alabama. I walked through that weight room, man. One of my guys took me and my kids in my mentoring program to the weight room, and I was just like, will we ever catch up?
Yeah. But
we may never catch up.
But how hard are we trying? Do we support the HBCU financially? Do the alumni give back? You know what I'm saying? This is kind of like off the subject, but I've talked to people who they won't spend $20 to go to a HBCU game, but to spend $60, $70 to run down to state or something like that. And then whine that HBCUs don't have what they need. Give some money back. Give some money back. There's a big money man just popped in the room right now. You see what I'm saying? Big money man just popped in the room.
What's going on,
You have to
man?
give back. You have to give back, man. It's not gonna kill you to give back to HBCU. It ain't gonna kill you to do that.
I'm telling you, Dave, I'm gonna stop you. We give, but we get the wrong thing. We give our best athletes to those schools. That lies the problem. That lies the problem. If we kept our LeBrons and you know, our great players and send them to historically black schools, and now it's no better time than right now to go to a HBCU, because you're going to be seen with the social media as it is. You can go to the league from a small school. But what you're saying is right. We don't give back. We don't give back. Like you said, you'll come to a homecoming and you'll see guys riding around in Bentleys and stuff, but they never go in the game. They never go inside the game. We don't give back, and that's part of our problem. We don't do what we should do, and then we cry about it. But the first resource that we give away is our kids. You guys are probably a little bit older than me, but when I was growing up, I honestly truly thought Georgetown was a black school because I saw basketball at Georgetown. And listen, I guarantee probably 75% of the black people at that time that were on campus were on the basketball team. You know, so and that's sad. And it's not just athletes; it's the academically gifted students. They go to the predominantly white schools too. I was offended when my daughter first started applying to school. HBCUs were among the last to reach out to her, and it kind of bothered me. Luckily, she had it in her heart to go to the illustrious North Carolina Central University.
Here we go.
I hear you.
The illustrious North Carolina Central. Luckily, she had it in her heart to go there, and I was so proud of her. But we got to do better. We got to do better as a people outside, and our schools have to do better. I don't know if you guys probably went. I know your son went athletically. My daughter didn't go athletically, and housing was an issue. You know, everything that you come your first day and you don't have a dorm room. You know what I'm saying? The stuff that probably doesn't happen at other schools happen. You know, so we have to do better. Our beautiful schools and universities have to do better, and we have to do better as people. I want for the national championship, Fayetteville State to be playing with Salem State. That's what it should be. If you look at the great athletes all the great athletes that have come out of this area, the super athletes that could have made a difference in these small conferences, they went to big schools and they went on to do big and better things. But what if they had gone to our school? The life they would bring. I mean, now these one and dones, like I know LeBron's son, the first school to offer him was North Carolina Central. First school to offer him, and he's one and done anyway. Why not go to a school that his presence could help? You know, why go to Duke? Duke's gonna do Duke without him. You know, I don't know what school he's going to, but I'm just saying, Winston-Salem State. Why not? I mean, I love what Chris Paul is doing now. He's wearing his HBCU, but why didn't he take his ass to Winston-Salem State?
Well,
what are you going to do?
I'm gonna tell you this.
Go ahead, Tiny.
I apologize. I don't think the culture at the time would have allowed Chris Paul to go to Winston-Salem State. And I think what he's doing now, because it is his hometown, parents, love Winston-Salem State. Parents do what they can for the city, but they do more for Winston-Salem State than they do for Wake Forest. It was a few years ago. He donated I think 2.5 million. And somebody said, Wake don't need the money. Won't he get that money to Winston State? But what they didn't know is that he had been given to Winston State, but he asked that it not be publicized. He didn't want the credit. He didn't want the credit. He didn't want the scrutiny from, the local people from Winston-Salem. Like, well, $2 million ain't nothing to him, but $2 million is something to everybody.
Absolutely.
And he's done so much more for Winston-Salem State. I know he's probably getting some ugly looks from Wake Forest, but he just did an HBCU tournament a few weeks ago. And I think Winston State won it, or they were in the final game. But for that brother,
I think they lost to Virginia State. I think
that's what happened. Okay, but for that brother to do all that that brought money into 4 different HBCU or 8 different HBCUs. I don't think anyone has done what Chris Paul has done for the HBCU community for him to have not went to a HBCU.
Absolutely.
But like you said, if 2021 was 2001 or 2003, whenever he came out of college, that would have been amazing. But at that time, the culture wouldn't have let Chris Paul. I think it would have been tough for him to try to go anywhere. Other than he went to Wake Forest, he probably could have went to any PWI. But to take business the way he wanted to, he stayed at home. Good old guy, mama's boy, just like us. He stayed at home, still get that home cooking if he needed it. And when he made his millions, he didn't forget about Winston-Salem.
That's what's important. Now, I do know another guy went to Winston-Salem State, and he is giving back money, but he don't shout y'all out like I think he should. That's Stephen A. Smith. He talk about everything else, but he don't talk about y'all like he should. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. He donates about $250,000-300,000 a year. And he's been doing that for probably 5 or 6 years. I don't like the way he talks about my Cowboys, but I wish he would shout out Big House Games a little bit more and Winston-Salem State. When he mentions Big House Games, people automatically assume that that's a shout out to Winston-Salem State because he is the granddaddy of Winston-Salem State. I mean, it is what it is. You can name whoever else, Simon G. Atkins. Without Big House, people wouldn't know what Winston-Salem State was or who we were or what we were famous for. I remember coming up in Winston, and he was coaching 2 different sports. And for me, if I hadn't stayed at Wake, it would have been nice to stay there. But I knew when it was time to transfer, I was going straight to Winston State. Good. Well, I know I think I'm the only panelist that is a non-athlete. I led it in every sport, but nobody remember me playing.
In a mirror count.
Yeah, in a mirror count.
Oh, okay. I was scout team All-American. I was the best player on every other team. I was the best player.
There you go.
All right, so fellas, let me just pose this question, man. Now we was talking about getting that support. How can we, I guess, get more support, not just from former players, but the communities, because that's kind of the fan base of the HBCUs, those communities. Not just the alumni and the students, but it's that community that it's based in. With A&T, a lot of all of Greensboro supports A&T. So, and with Winston, it's people in Winston grew up, watching the Rams. So it's that community. How can we get more support from the community?
I think we need to educate them. I don't think people understand that it's not free to have a stadium. It's not free to support our athletic department. I don't think they know that. I think they just assume the school and money comes out of nowhere to support these. So we got to educate them. We got to let them know. We got to let them know. We got to talk to them. We got to hit the ground and let them know and let them, because who knows? I mean, I went to A&T's homecoming for 38 years straight. No, don't care where I was in the world. I always came home for homecoming. And I think I've been to probably 6 games. Period. Most of the time, I'm drunk by 10, sleep by 12, back up by 6. You know, and I didn't realize what I could have done. You know, I could have gone in the game. I could have supported. And that's another thing too. Apparel, you gotta buy licensed apparel. You can't just buy stuff, stuff that's not going back to the school. Guys running around with a A&T t-shirt out of a grocery basket. The school's not getting anything out of it. Anything with those schools' names on it, they should get that money for it. Little things like that, man. And I know it's nitpicking, and I know a licensed shirt will probably cost $25 when you can get this bootleg shirt for $5. But sometimes you know where your money's going. That's just my input on it. We gotta hit the streets and let people know that money is needed, and that help. Anything helps.
Every bit helps.
Yeah.
On my 2 cents on that question, I think it's so much jealousy and beef in all these cities you just named. I disagree with you. I don't think Greensboro supports A&T. Not all of Greensboro. I don't think all of Winston-Salem supports Winston-Salem State. I think a lot of people wish they could have went to these schools, and it's so much beef when these students leave campus and go to these parties off campus. Every year I read about somebody getting shot and killed. I myself got shot on A&T's campus. Not blaming anyone but myself. I should have never been there. But at the end of the day, I think that alumni, when these kids start calling from the school asking you to pledge $20 and $30, I think we need to help these kids out. I know my wife is a Winston State grad. I am myself. My daughter Sydney went to NCCU, and we always talk to her about giving back.
Where did she go?
She went to Central.
Okay, highly intelligent.
and as much as I dislike Central, she went down there. She graduated. She got a undergrad and she got a master's, and I just appreciate the fact that she loves her school. We go at it, but
cold
she loves the school.
It's cold.
All right, fellas, hold on. Let me bring in Mr. T. Graves is gonna join us, man.
We go at it, but cold. All right. Let me bring in Mr. T. Graves is going to join us, man.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear us, T?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, can I get you to turn your volume down just a little bit?
Mr. T. Graves is going to join us, man.
No, you gotta mute his phone.
Yeah, you got his phone on. Yeah.
Mute his phone.
Can I get you to turn your volume down just a little bit? Mute your phone.
Yeah. No, you gotta mute his phone.
Yeah, you got his phone on. Yeah.
Mute his phone.
Mute your phone.
Who need to mute their phone?
You.
No, my phone off.
Okay.
Must be my laptop you talk about.
Yeah, he good now.
Oh, you good now?
Well, what I was gonna add is, you say what you want to say about Coach Sanders, but man, he's a marketing machine. And like Timmy said, you got to educate on this type of thing. Think about this. Just think about this for a minute. As Black folks, we'll go to a UNC game. We'll go to an NC State game. How often do you see any white folks at a HBCU game? True. How often do you see it? We're not there, and they're not there. The only time that a HBCU game is selling out is during homecoming. We got to do like Timmy said. We got to market a whole lot better so we can get people. You need butts in seats. Everybody shouldn't be outside in the parking lot having a great time. You're not gaining any funding that way. You got to have the butts in the seats.
Absolutely. I agree. CIAA parties when it was in Charlotte. Parties all over Charlotte. Stadium empty. Coliseum empty. You can get a seat anywhere in the basketball. Nobody watches the basketball game, but everybody in Charlotte. Got to do better.
All right, well, let me bring T. Graves in, man. What's up, T?
What's up, man?
Not much, man. Chilling. I appreciate you taking time out to join us, man. This is it's been a real good discussion so far.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of it. I was just listening to you brothers kick the science and some real good points, man. It's good to see brothers having those conversations. You know, a lot of things I can say, a lot of things I can't say, but you know, I've been in the game 28 years.
Right.
And, you know, being a graduate of Winston-Salem State University, a graduate of Grambling State University, worked at 5 HBCUs, been around HBCUs since I was 5 years old. I'm 53 now, so I got really 48 years in the game. Was being put on game by the legends. You talking about Coach Dick Price, Coach Big House Gaines, you know, Coach Richardson, Coach Eddie Robinson, Coach Marino Castle. The list goes on and on and on and on. So I've watched the thing that we always have to be careful of when we're talking about HBCUs and funding. The thing you always have to be careful of is talking about what it used to be, because there was a different dynamic in regards to HBCUs. And you can go back as far as the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. The landscape of HBCUs really changed in about the mid 90s, early 90s to the mid 90s. A lot of times we talk about athletes. You got to remember, our best were still able to come, were willing to come to our schools because we were only maybe not even 20 years out of segregation or integration into the predominantly white institutions. So we still had a pulse, and our people still had a pulse on the HBCUs and its landscape. What you got to understand is, ESPN did a great job with college football, 150 years. They did a really good job. They didn't go as far in depth as I would like, but I understand that's a corporation. They have things that they have to do. You got to understand that we became viable to those guys when Sam Bam Cunningham and them did what they did to Alabama, which was discussed. I always ask this question to every administrator when I'm at an institution, and I'm talking about presidents, vice presidents, department chairmen, and I always ask this question, and I'll pose this to you guys. What do you think was the biggest detriment to our institutions? Now, we had two schools of thought, W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington. So where do you think, what happened to the detriment of our schools in terms of those schools of thought? And then it ties into what we're talking about, athletics.
Okay, so
somebody gonna take that?
I think we did it to ourselves. I know myself as a young boy was told you're not going to be successful unless you go to a PWI. And
yeah.
Everybody at my school that thought they was good wanted to go to Wake Forest, Chapel Hill, Duke, and I know it's that thinking that got us in the dark. So many brothers, me and T. Graves transferred at the same time from Wake Forest to Winston-Salem State, but there's some other guys that didn't have the opportunity to go to Winston-Salem State. They just left school. And those are the guys that, I'm not even going to say they make it to fall between the cracks. Those are the guys that they get lucky, they get a job, and if not, they end up in prison or worse. And I'm saying that because Terrence Graves said W.B. Du Bois, and we were told, and Booker T. Washington, we were told that if you're not going to be as successful as your white counterpart, you just spinning your wheels. So to be successful as them, we got to go to the same party as them. And that's the PWIs. So we go up there and we sit the bench and ride the pine, never touch the field, and, you know, get a job after we graduate, become successful. We think we made it. We don't even know that we just defaced and put ourselves another 5 years back by not doing anything for the Black community. And it's amazing. I had Larry Little as one of my best teachers and one of my best professors, man, and he talked about it every day. Like, man, don't it feel good to be Black? But at the same time, what are the kids at the white colleges being told when they don't learn any Black history? They just learn history.
Mm-hmm.
But I get it, T. Graves, and that was a crazy question to ask because you lost me, you lost all of us on that one because
All right. So
who we supposed to listen to? Who we supposed to listen to?
all right, let me give it to y'all. And I'm gonna put this in a book one day if the good Lord allows me to, but I'm gonna give it to y'all. All right. The thing, if you remember, our schools were at the apex. Our schools were at the zenith when we had both schools of thought. Because when we were at our schools in our communities, you could get your car fixed, you could get brick masonry stuff done to your home, you could get electrical work done, all kinds of that stuff, right? And then you also had the liberal arts education. We had both schools of thoughts at our schools. That's why our schools were bursting at the seams. So what happened was when Sam Bam Cunningham and those guys did what they did at Alabama, they said, hey, wait a minute. Okay, because even in the 80s, the great teams of Grambling State University, Florida A&M, Tennessee State, those guys had first-round draft picks. Those guys could beat PWIs consistently on their level. Now, so what they said was, okay, look, we got to figure this out. So what we have to do, we have to find out how we can pull their best and brightest from their school. So what they did was they pushed liberal arts education, W.E.B. Du Bois, the talented 10th, they pushed that more as a school curriculum, okay? The problem with that is who determines who's our talented 10th, okay? So then they moved us away from Booker T. Washington School of Thought because that's industrial technology. Some people call it second-class citizenship, but I know for a fact more brick masons, plumbers, carpenters, all them, they make way more money than us with these liberal arts.
Yeah.
Right? So then what they did, they said, okay, what we'll do, we'll remove the Booker T. Washington component from the HBCUs and put them at community colleges, technical colleges, junior colleges. So now we can get their best and their brightest student athletes who can do the work in the W.E.B. Du Bois School of Thought. We can get them. How do we get the Booker T. Washington basically guys, those skilled labor guys? Now, they may not be strong academically, but how do we do that? So now what we do, we put them in junior colleges, community colleges that play football. And then what do we do on the academic side? We have general studies degree programs at the larger schools. So now I can send them to school, let them get a AA degree, a vocational degree, and now I can still bring them to the Power 5 schools or the predominantly white institutions because I have a general studies or interdisciplinary studies, whatever you want to call it, university studies. I have that degree program. So now not only does he have a skill, because that's what he's probably going to do after he finished playing football, basketball, whatever. Now I've given him an AA. Now I've given him a BS or a BA at the 4-year institution. So when they go on to their professional ranks in their prospective sports, who do they become alumni to? They become alumni to the PWI. So where is their money going? It's going back to the PWI because their allegiances to the PWI. So that's why I say it's so many moving parts that if you don't really sit down and dissect it, it looks like they strategically did that. It's not the fact that it's a reason why they have our best and brightest because they have the resources and they put them in position to have the resources so their resources go back to them. Our problem is a lot of times at our schools, we devalue the 90% of our student athletes. See, because we've been trained and taught and thought that if you are not Power 5, if you're not 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, 1-star, if you're not that, then you're not good enough. So now, if you go to our schools, the Winston-Salem States, the Fayetteville States, the North Carolina Central, the A&T, now when we come to, you go to their schools, then first thing we say is the quality of play is not up to par. Well, last that I checked, HBCUs, some of the best players that ever played the game and football, basketball, what have you, come from HBCUs. So if the talent is subpar, how do those guys become super?
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? How does Robert Porter, how does Michael Strahan, how does Darius Leonard, who just reset the market for linebacker play in the NFL, how does he become that if the level of play is at HBCUs, if it's subpar? But what we do, we devalue our student athletes. Those student athletes are great. They can play. They're at our schools. So why don't we put those guys on a pedestal like we used to do in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s? Now, let's go back. We talk about the CIAA basketball tournament. The second or third largest basketball tournament in all of college basketball.
Right.
Those guys played Division II basketball, and they were rock stars amongst Black America.
Mm-hmm.
They were rock stars. When I was growing up, Ralph Talley, David Pope, Charles Oakley, you name the list goes on and on and on. Those were rock stars in our communities, just like the football players. But because all of a sudden we get these degrees, these advanced degrees, we move to the suburbs. You know, we got country club memberships. We are, we jumping out of airplanes and bungee jumping and all that. So now the more we become like them, the less we value ourselves. We don't value ourselves like we once did. So now this is something that I used to get into with coaches, high school coaches here in Louisiana when I was coaching at Southern University. I used to hear coaches that graduated, played, won championships at Southern University. They used to tell their players, well, if you don't get to go Group 5 or Power 5, you can always go to school on the yard. Huh? You can always go to the school on the yard. And I'm saying, oh, wait. So you just gonna send a guy that if he can't get a Division I offer, then he can always come to school at his alma mater. So you degrading your own institution and your own program by sending a subpar player to your alma mater.
Mm-hmm.
See, we do it to ourselves. And so it baffles me. And I always say, perfect example, good friend of mine, he's at the University of Florida now. And he used to always call me about guys. He was a state high school champion. And he always used to call me about players. And he'd say, Coach, I got a linebacker for you. He reminds me of, he's a lot like Channing Warner. For y'all don't know, Channing Warner was a 4-time SWAC champion, 3-time National Black College Champion, All-American, academic All-American. He was everything. This guy went from 0-44 in high school to winning 4 straight conference championships, 3 national championships. He was everything. Wow. Second all-time leading tackle in Southern University history. I coached him, all right? So he compared him to him. He wasn't the fastest guy. He wasn't the most athletic guy, but he was super smart. He worked hard. He made himself into a dominant football player. Mm-hmm. So they always used to compare any guy that was a big middle linebacker to him. So I asked him, I told him, Coach, what about the boy that committed to Oklahoma State? He's another linebacker. I said, what about the boy at going to Oklahoma State? Oh, well, Coach, he going to Oklahoma State. But I say, but that's who I want. I want the boy that's going to Oklahoma State. That boy there, he can't play at Oklahoma State or Okra State. But you want to send him to your alma mater. Mm. Mm. So now what happens is when our own alumni send us players that probably aren't good enough to play at our schools, then is the coaches can't coach. Coaches can't.
And see, Coach T, that's what I was saying earlier, man. A lot of times we don't even try to recruit the best in our neighborhoods.
Well, I take that back. No, I'll say this. We do. And I can speak to that. We go after the top dogs, hand and foot. And I'm going to tell you why we do that. Because my generation, when I was coming up, I was one of the best athletes in the country coming out of Norfolk, Virginia in 1988. I got recruited by everybody in the country. All right. There was a time where HBCUs would go to a school, but if they saw that you were a high-profile guy, back then it was blue chip, gold, and silver, and all that jazz. Well, anyway, so if you were a high profile guy, their thing was, I'll leave a questionnaire, whatever, but I ain't gonna waste time because he got this person, got that person. And I was the type, I was a unicorn. I loved HBCU football. I never got recruited wholeheartedly by a number of HBCUs. So fast forward, going to college and getting in the game, because of that, myself and the generation of coaches at HBCUs, we have the attitude, we gonna go after the big fish. Now, are we gonna get them? Probably not. Why? Because let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it 100. Facilities, nutrition, exposure, the financial benefits that they get and give. We can't add that. You know what I'm saying? Malcolm Roach, who plays for the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
Malcolm Roach played at University of Texas. I was the first coach at Grambling State University to offer Malcolm Roach a full scholarship at Grambling State University when he was in the 10th grade. Malcolm was coming to Grambling until Malcolm's senior year, and Malcolm blew up. And guess what happened? Texas, LSU, Alabama.
That was it.
Hey, Isaiah Buggs, who plays for the Steelers. Was on campus here at Grambling State University. It came down to us in Alabama. Come on, man. You talking about Saban, and I mean, it's good, it's nice. We may not get those guys. We may not get those, but there's still enough talented student athletes in our communities to still be great and make our institutions great. Look at the running back from A&T. I can't think of his name.
Bears.
Cohen. What's his name? Cohen. Yeah. Now, Trey Oliver found him. Nobody was going to take him.
Yeah.
Trey Oliver stood on the table at North Carolina A&T for Tariq Cohen. All right. He stood on the table for him. Look what the guy is right now.
Oh, yeah.
So we got enough. We may not always get the, like you say, the Bronnies and we may not get those, but we have enough to be great and put a great product on the field that we can be proud of. We got to stop devaluing our own. It's just like the superstars. If we got those handful of celebrities and superstars or whatever, we can't just put them up on the pedestal and praise them and not praise the people who doing well in corporate America, who's doing well in education, who's doing well in whatever their respective fields are. We gotta value our own. And when we do that, then we'll start to see the change.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Man. Right, well, if he was a battle rapper, it'd be like bum, 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 bum.
All right, well, man, we've been at this an hour, man. So it's about time for us to get out of here, man. I don't want to hold y'all all night. I want y'all to enjoy the rest of your evening. Antonio, my man Tiny, he had to step away, so he's already gone. But T Graves, man, I appreciate it. David, I appreciate it. Tim, as always, I appreciate it as always, man.
I got some packing to do. I got a flight tomorrow in the morning.
All right, man. Be safe, man. Everybody pulling for you. We love what you're doing down there, man.
Hey, yes, sir. Hey. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, fellas. Right. Y'all be good.
Man, y'all have a great evening, man.
All right. Everybody have a good one, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, thank you, man. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Well, as y'all probably can see, my screen froze up a long time ago, but hopefully you can still hear me, I guess. But Tim is still there. You still there, bro?
I'm still here.
What's up? My screen froze up, so
I thought you were just smiling like I thought you were happy.
Yeah, I froze up a long time ago.
Man, that show right there was all right.
Yeah, man, that was good, man. I appreciate everybody coming in, man. It hopefully we can get more stuff like that, man. Did you go to the game?
Man, no, man. Listen, man.
I figured you was gone.
Listen, man. I bought my ticket, had my hotel room, everything, man. I honestly truly didn't feel like driving, man. I'm getting old. I mean, I was like, man, it ain't but 4 hours, man. I said, man, hell no. That's what I said, hell no. I didn't miss shit. I ain't miss shit. Y'all damn almost tried to get a game away. Y'all had the people whoop and try to get a game away, but you know.
Yeah, we definitely tried to give it away, man.
Man,
But,
Dak ain't too smart, is it?
Oh no, that whole offense struggling right now, boy. If it wasn't for that defense, man.
Yeah, defense playing good, man. But I'm gonna tell you, y'all got it wrong, man. Y'all thinking something, man. I'm gonna tell you, he not what y'all think he is. Number 7 is not a shutdown corner.
I mean, I ain't saying he Deion Sanders, but he better than what's on the other side.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah, but hey, number 7. I asked the guy today, do you think number 7 was shut down? Like shut down. I'm like, I don't know.
No. When you say shut down, then the only person I can think of is Deion.
Deion, Darrell Rivers was shut down for a minute.
Yeah, I give you Rivers,
but those kind of guys like
Deion.
They can guard your best man. They can go one-on-one with your best man, and 75% of the time they'll win. You know, elite athletes, they gonna get elite receiver gonna get open. He gonna get open. You're not gonna shut anybody completely. I don't care who you are. You're not gonna shut them completely down. But them guys can cover. They can cover and recover. They can be out of position and come back and stop the ball. So,
all right, man. But while I got you on, man, we can talk about this tour drive for a little bit, man.
Okay.
Like I said, my screen is froze, so hopefully the people can hear me.
I think they can hear you. Yeah.
We're gonna be giving away the toys on Friday. And what we don't give away, we're gonna come, what we have left rather. We're gonna give away some more on Saturday morning. So we're gonna do, we've had we had plenty of donations and stuff like that come in over the last few days. So for anybody that's watching, the last day we're gonna take donations will probably be Wednesday. That way we got Thursday to kind of get things together and situated, and then Friday and Saturday we delivering. So
that'll work. I can't wait. I can't wait to put my Santa hat on and give away some toys to these kids.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have the whole suit on again, so I ain't got it on tonight. But all right, man. So mental check-in. You good?
Man, I'm good. It's tough, man. It's good. It's today was better than a lot of days for a long time. Today was good.
All right, man. Well, I'm gonna get up out of here so I can relax and enjoy the rest of the evening and enjoy the rest of this Cowboys victory Monday. Victory Sunday, rather.
Oh yeah. It's your last one for a long time.
Nah. We're gonna have another one next week.
Who y'all got next week?
The Giants.
I might take the Giants. I might take the Giants for a beer.
Don't do that.
We Thursday.
Don't do that. We played the
I'm saying it live. I said what I said. I'm taking the Giants for a beer.
You might well go and get that beer now. All right, but brother, I'm gonna get up out of here, man.
All right, man. I appreciate this show, man, and thank you, man. So we'll keep doing it as long as we can do it.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man.
No problem.
All right, have a good evening.
All right, you too, bro.
Take it easy.
Peace.
All right, and I'm still froze, so I ain't gonna keep y'all too much longer. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Again, I want to thank Mr. Antonio Stevenson, Mr. David Lawson, Mr. Terrence Graves, also known as T. Graves. I want to thank those brothers for coming on. Of course, I want to thank my man Timothy. I guess my man Demetrius was still shopping. Didn't get a chance to come on. Great discussion. about the HBCUs and funding and support and recruiting. T Gray's dropping some mad knowledge on us, man. So that was a great show. And keep tuning in. Like I said, you're going to get more posts in regards to the toy drive this week. Like I said, this Wednesday is going to be the last day we take donations. So with that being said, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. And once again, as always, we said what we said. From the frozen screen, I'm out.